Good morning. So, this is going to be a message for Divine Feminine on a twin flame journey. And I want to talk a little bit about pain because the pain on this journey is so intense. And that is why there's so much talk about the pain because the pain is so um, deep and to levels that we have never known before and could not have imagined prior to being on this journey. We could not have known that it even existed. And I think that's why there's such a focus on the pain. That's why there's so much talk about the pain, and the pain receives so much attention. And from within myself, I'm finding that there is it cannot be avoided. So it is something that we have to go through and we have to address. There is no bypassing. You cannot bypass the pain on the journey because that is the journey. You are overcoming aspects of yourself. It is moving you through your spiritual awakening and kind of forcing you to go through um, your ego and sort your own self out. And there's a lot of pain in the loss of yourself. There's a lot of pain in the pushing against things as they are or as you perceive them to be. It is the emotions that we have attached to uh, these situations that we uh, go through, or even just aspects of ourselves that we are leaving behind are causing us so much pain. And I'm finding that the release of the pain is through the pain. So there is a shifting that we do on this journey. We shift and we shift out of the pain. Um, because as long as we're in the pain, we're pushing against we are in that obsessive mode. We are in that trying to control. We are in the place of feeling like the victim of our life and not fully standing up in our full power. But if we are not, see, the only way that we can stand up into our full power and even realize our full power is first by going through our weaknesses. As long as those weaknesses are still within us, as long as those perceived thoughts of unworthiness, or as long as our life worth or our self worth is placed in another, or dependent on a circumstance, dependent on um, getting attention from my twin, or dependent on being with them, or dependent on receiving their love or receiving their approval, or see that our twin is giving us back a reflection of the universe, but a perfect reflection of self. So it is our exact polar. It is it is a reflection of our own vibration. And because we are getting that energetic reflection of ourselves, or the perfect reflection in all of the different levels, emotional, energetical, um, uh, reflections of where and how we perceive and want to be in the physical plane, um, spiritual, all of the different layers, all the way through to the God essence of ourselves, our very core of our existence. So we are being taken on a journey to the core and to the substance of who we are truly. And in order to get to that core, there is a process of, first of all, going through all the layers of ourself, all of the perceptions of ourselves, all of the beliefs. We go through ourselves completely, and we have to face ourselves, and we have to face all of the um, false beliefs that we have about ourselves, all of the beliefs that we have about ourselves, we have to completely um, know ourselves to every aspect. Otherwise, you cannot arrive at that God essence, which your counterpart is a reflection of that. So we are drawn to them from something that feels like it feels like from a place that is beyond our control. We are drawn to them like a magnet being drawn in. And we, at the same time that we are being drawn, we're also, all of our faces, every single aspect of ourselves is being exposed along this journey. And so we're seeing sides of ourselves that we have never seen before, and sides of ourselves, all the different aspects of ourselves. Also, our strengths are being exposed, but also all of our weaknesses and all of the places that we less like about ourselves, and all of the places that we have even hidden from ourselves that we have not been able to see. Everything is being reflected back to us. So it's like you meet this counterpart that is a perfect match, perfect vibrational match, and anything that any all of our thoughts, all of our emotions, all of our behaviors are also vibrations, right? So it's like we have our pure vibration, and we have a pure vibration, and on top of that vibration is all of this other vibrations that have altered our pure vibration. It's like you have a clean slate and you've piled a whole bunch of stuff on it. And now you're sitting on top of this pile, this pyramid of belief systems that aren't even, a lot of them aren't even yours. Traumas, behaviors, automatics, um, all sorts of these fake, or and many of them aren't even fake, but they're there in automatic, and we don't even know why they're there. And now, because we have this reflection of our pure vibration and our soul recognizes it, it's like everything, the whole pyramid, everything that was built on top of our pure vibration starts to shake. And it's like the foundations, uh, it's like your foundation wakes up and says, "Hey, wait a minute, what is all this crap on top of me?" And then you have to start slowly, you start picking through um, everything that, and sometimes it's not even slowly. Sometimes you fall into it, or it feels like it's something that just like some a bubble that bursts in your existence, and all of a sudden you have to deal with it, and the pain in that is excruciating. We it's You can see it as every single aspect of ourselves is being opened. So it's like a muscle that you don't use, and then all of a sudden you use that muscle and it becomes really sore because it hasn't been exposed to, or it hasn't been taught. It hasn't been fully matured. So every single Pandora box, every single emotion that we have now is opening, which is a good thing because we are um, learning to know ourselves inside and out in a completely. But at the same time, it's very painful because all of these places that we have never known about ourselves, all of these aspects are being opened, and we see all of the masks, or all of the crap that was built on top of whatever this mechanism is, and all of a sudden it's exposed even to us. We feel completely exposed. So not only are we super vulnerable And the person that we are most vulnerable to is our counterpart, because they can see us. They see us, and not only do they see us, they see all the masks and all the behaviors and all the funky stuff that we don't even see. So it's like you are completely exposed and vulnerable, and not only do they see all these points, they withdraw from them because they can see it for what it is. They can see it as inauthenticity. It is all of these places and all of these beliefs and all of these behaviors that we have concocted from our childhood, even if we feel like we are completely authentic and open to change and open to seeing these points, many times we're blind to them. And when they are exposed to us, a lot of times we fight for them. And that's the pain of pushing against. We fight for them because of, first of all, we are ashamed. And shame, think about it. Shame is like one of the lowest vibrational emotions that you can have. But when you're exposed to yourself, and there's nothing you can do, when you are exposed to yourself and a certain behavior that is, in a sense, that you can see the falseness in it, or you see this behavior all of a sudden that you've been that you have adopted your entire life, and you've been on this automatic mode, and it is reflected back to you. And not only is it reflected back to you, it's like once you see it, you get all caught up in it too. You see the places in your life that you were behaving in a certain automatic, defensive, um, protective, uh, um, behavior, automatic behavior, and you're waking up. You're waking up to it. So this is the spiritual awakening. You're awakening up to yourself. And the process is going completely through ourselves, through every single emotion, because we are going through every single emotion that is humanly capable. We are completely getting to know the avatar and our ego aspect, and take control of the reins of our ego aspect, and loving our ego aspect. It is inseparable from us. If we are, as long as we are in this life and on this plane, our ego aspect is completely inseparable from us. It is what allows us to shine through this avatar. It is what allows us to have this human experience. But as long as the ego is on automatic mode, right? It's like we have abandoned ourselves, we have abandoned the ego to take control. And now, when we're coming in and we're starting to take control, the ego itself is also pushing against. So not only do we're pushing, our ego is pushing against our higher self, and we have to come in with complete love and compassion and acceptance of ourself, pure self-love and acceptance. And that is also part of the process. Not only do we get to know ourselves, but we also accept ourselves and love ourselves unconditionally. And when we are able to do that, then we are able to let go of all these falsities. And we're also able to treat ourselves with respect and compassion, and knowing that everything that was built on top of our natural state of being was put there for a reason. And it was put there as a protective mode. Even if we were completely sleepwalking and gave over all the power to our ego to manage our lives for us, and allowed our ego to take over and to put us on automatic mode. See, our ego behaves from the 3D world. So it doesn't have, it is behaving in a manner that is very, egotistical. It is the ego. It is very it it is very self-satisfying. So it doesn't have that higher purpose. The ego's purpose is for this 3D plane. So the ego will make all sorts of behaviors for for maneuvering through the 3D world, which will serve it in the best way, which doesn't always serve our highest purpose, right? Because our ego will go for immediate gratification, whereas our higher selves are looking for that meaning and purpose and maximizing this life experience. So when we come in and we take the reins back from the ego is full of fear. It's like it's like a separate from us. Our ego is full of fear. Oh no, now it has to relinquish all the power that it had. And now it's afraid. What if I'm abandoned again? And then I'm left in the world without these mechanisms that protect me. And I become vulnerable because if I'm not on automatic mode and I am relinquishing the power over to my higher being, right? You can see it as separateness. You can see it as separateness, but it is still us. This body and this ego and this avatar is one dimension, one dimension of us. It is our exact being in the physical form. So it is a representation of our higher self in the manifested 3D realm and form. So so when you can look at it this way, it's like we have to merge back with our ego, but we also have to knock all those false behaviors and all those mechanisms that the ego has attached to itself throughout life. And through the twin flame journey, we have that perfect reflection, vibrational reflection. And the pain is so intense, can be so intense that if we had the choice, that's why this twin flame journey kind of forces us through the spiritual awakening at a, because a lot of times we get to these plateaus and it's very comfortable to be in these places because all of a sudden we feel like, okay, we can manage this. I know with myself that I get to every time I get to a plateau and every time I get on this journey to a place where I say, okay, oh, okay, this is manageable. This is I feel good. All of a sudden the focus is coming back to me, and every single time I come in for a new level, and the level of pain at every single step on this journey, the level of pain or the intensity or the depth of the pain, it just keeps it just keep there's so many layers to this. There's so many layers to this. And so at one point, at every point, let's say every stage on this, every level of pain that you get to, first of all, it becomes easier because I already have the mechanism on going through the pain. Okay, here comes the pain, and I just go through it, intensify it, and allow it space to be. And I actually just go deep into immerse myself in the pain. It's like going into the ocean, into this massive dark ocean of pain. It's just black and grays, and you're just through the torrents of it and the torments of it. But you learn that release mechanism. The further you get along in this journey, you know how to just breathe into it and relax into it and allow it. And then you just go through it and you allow it to take you into, and whatever comes, you just go through it. There still is a little bit of push against. Sometimes I feel like I just want to, when I get up in the morning, honestly, on a personal note, and this is the ego, and I know that these are the places of work. I feel like I just want to block him on all any kind of contact from any kind of social media, any way of having any kind of contact with me, and just be for a second completely closed in. I wrote something to that effect, that when you build a fence around yourself or you build this protective dome fence around yourself to protect you from the outside, what you are actually doing is closing yourself off from opportunities and options. So you think you're building this fence for protection, but what you're doing is actually making your own universe smaller. Just a side note that came to me. Um, and so this twin flame journey, when the further we get along on it, the further we go through it, the more, first of all, also the more empowered you feel, because the deeper the pain, it seems like every time I get to a place where I'm like, okay, this is doable, there's another level of pain. All of a sudden it just hits you like, I didn't even know that that could exist, and you go into that deep, deep, deep pain and just immerse yourself. And the longer I've been on this, the more practice I've had in going through the pain. So I already have surrender in that place, and I just go through it, and the quicker it seems to go through. What used to take me weeks or even months to go through, now I can go through in an evening. The next day I still feel bruised from the pain. I still feel that, there's like a throbbing that continues after, but I have gone through the pain. And what I've realized is that the pain will draw um, your thoughts to it, but it will also, you can go through the pain without thoughts. I have I have a phone call, and that's why I'm just going to decline it. So as you go through the pain, not only does it become easier to go through it because you already have the mechanism, you already know how to go through it, you have the template, you have practice, you already are good at surrender, and it also it lasts less time. Um, but at the same time, it's kind of like a paradox of sorts. The pain gets deeper, but you know yourself much better, and it seems to be that I am more and more and more empowered. I'm more and more, and I'm stronger and stronger, and it is easier for me to bring the focus back to myself. I also trust that connection, that it's going to be there, and the connection becomes less of like a novelty item. It becomes more of a something that is, first of all, you understand that you are connected at the energetic level. So whatever he's doing is what he's doing. He's doing it for his highest good. And just like whatever I'm doing for my highest good. And you realize that it's a two-way street. Not only do they see through you, but you also see through them. And there is kind of like a shifting in power. And it's not a shifting in power in a way of, I want power over you. It's more like you take back your own power, because you realize that, okay, this is um, just as I am getting the lessons, they are also getting the lessons in a counter way. They are also getting those reflective lessons, however they process it. Maybe, in the beginning we think, well, it's unfair because I'm going through all this pain and they're not. They're often, but it's not like that. Whatever you are processing, because you are one energetic field or the same vibration, once you meet, your entity, is your energy, is connected, and it is constantly influencing and being influenced. So it is inseparable. It's like two droplets of water that come together. You could never completely separate them just as they were. So in that way, when you can comprehend that, but also comprehend that at an emotional and energetic level, which the more we purify ourselves, the more we go through ourselves, the more we expand ourselves, the more we understand our own emotions, the more power we get back, or take control over, because we always have the power. It's a matter of perceiving it and understanding that we have it, and removing all of the weakness in order to allow the power standing up into our own power that is within ourselves and is in existence already. It's just a knowing of that power and taking the reins back. And so the more that we are able to do that, the less, and that is what we are doing. You can trust the journey. The journey is pushing us through that. The places that we are in pain are the places that we are getting stuck in the loops and fighting against, because we're going against the natural cause and effect. We're going against our God essence. We're going against the way that things naturally become. Then that is where the pain is caused. Once we relinquish over, we say, and we allow, then it comes a lot quicker. It's raining. I'm going to go ahead and head home. So the pain on this, what I'm finding is that the pain is part of it, and we have to learn how to go through it. I know that we don't want to be sitting in that pain. We don't want to continuously sit in the pain and suffer in the pain, because the pain has come to teach us something. But once we learn how to just surrender into the pain, it's not surrender into any specific thought, it's acceptance and surrendering into the pain itself, feeling the pain. Without the connected thoughts, it doesn't matter what the thoughts are. The thoughts will arise, but not to get thrown in those loops, because when the thoughts arise, that's where we start pushing against, because then we start trying to make sense of it and the ego tries to take control. But if we just allow the pain, then the pain will pass. The pain will come. It'll process. It'll expand our emotion spectrum, and it'll open that door up for us, which also opens up the heights of our capabilities and our strengths and our happiness, because once we can go through those levels of pain, we don't have to fear them anymore, which allows us to be more free in the world, because we're not afraid of hitting something that's going to cause us some pain, because we already know that we can go through it no matter what. So the pain is an inseparable part of this journey, and embrace it. It's coming to teach you. You should be so lucky as to have pain to be able to go through, to be able to expand, to be able to process. I'm sending you guys so much love and comfort, and I know, sending you guys so much love. Thank you for watching.